members of the PLP Constituency Branch, number 30, family, friends, members of the media. Today is a special day for the Progressive Labor Party and the people of Bermuda as we introduce our new candidate for constituency number 30, Southampton East Central, Mr. Mischa Fubler. Before I discuss why Mischa is the right person to represent the people of Southampton East Central, I would like to take a moment to pay tribute to the current MP for constituency number 30, MP Jason Wade. In 2020, the people of constituency 30 saw in Mr. Wade what we in the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party already knew: a humble, hardworking, community-focused leader who dedicated himself to serving the people. His passion, integrity, and commitment to his constituents will forever be a part of his legacy. As he now steps away from politics, we thank him for representing his party, his country, and his people with honor and distinction. Jason, we are grateful for your service and wish you nothing but success in your future endeavors. As we bid farewell to one leader, we welcome another who embodies those same values and brings with him an array of talents that will continue to uplift this community. It is my pleasure to present to you our new candidate for constituency number 30, Mischa Fubler. Mischa Fubler is a Bermudian success story. Born and raised right here on our island, educated through our public school system before continuing his academic journey overseas. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Urban Studies from York University in Canada, and a Master's of Science in Information Systems in Brooklyn College in New York. I'd just like to share, I also have a Master's of Science in Information Systems. His background is one of critical thinking and expertise across a broad spectrum of ideas, and he has selflessly applied his talents to bettering our party and our community. A longstanding member of the Progressive Labor Party, Mischa has served as a branch officer, contributed to our Research and Platform Committee, and held the important role of Party Chief Technology Officer. Mischa is no stranger to hard work, and he is no stranger to service. Volunteering with numerous community organizations such as Social Justice Bermuda, dedicated to helping Bermudians in need or marginalized. He doesn't just make off, he makes moves. He represents the next generation of leaders in our party who are stepping forward from out of our community with a vision for a better and fair Bermuda. He represents the energy, forward-thinking mindset, and dedication of the PLP as we continue to fight for the people of Bermuda and a fairer, more equitable society. We are confident that Mischa will represent the residents of Constituency 30 with the dedication and commitment that they deserve. We are proud to have him as our candidate, and we look forward to seeing the positive impact that he will have on the lives of his constituents. Before I conclude and turn the mic over to Mischa, I want to take a moment to remind everyone of what's at stake when the next election is held. The people of Constituency 30 in 2020 rejected the failed record of the One Bermuda Alliance, a party that for too long prioritized a select few over the many and who threatened the birthright of Bermudians with pathways to status. Under the One Bermuda Alliance, taxes on workers were increased to the highest level in history. Government services were slashed, government workers furloughed and saw their jobs under threat, and they left Bermuda with a bad airport deal and a failed Morgan's Point project costing taxpayers over $200 million. While our communities were ignored, our seniors were neglected, our schools filled up with mold, and the voices of our people went unheard. They have never apologized, never changed their policies, and never admitted they were wrong. They would do it all over again and worse if given that chance. The Progressive Labor Party has always been and will continue to be the party that stands for all Bermudians. We will always strive to deliver fairness, opportunity, and prosperity for every Bermudian. So while we may be losing a great MP and, to me, a great personal friend to retirement, we are gaining a new talent with fresh energy and a clear vision for a brighter future for Bermuda. And therefore, it is now my great pleasure to hand the mic over to the new Progressive Labor Party candidate for constituency number 30, Mischa Fubler.
All right, that was okay. We're good. Greetings to the party leader, party chair, branch chair, MP Jason Wade, and the people of Bermuda. I'm pleased to share my intention to represent the people of Southampton East Central as the PLP candidate for constituency 30. As your candidate, I would like the opportunity to engage with you all, to hear your questions, concerns, and ideas for how we can continue to build a brighter future for our community, parish, and island. Through canvassing, monthly clinics, or online, I welcome your input on how we improve things for not just the constituency, but the island as a whole. A little over a year ago, actually, we gathered here for my formal introduction to the political landscape of Bermuda and the announcement of my intention to run in the Smith South by-election. And as such, I'd be remiss if I didn't start out by sharing my heartfelt appreciation to the dedicated volunteers that made that campaign possible. I'd like to express my gratitude to the residents of Constituency 8 for engaging with me on their doorsteps, in their homes, or even their backyard patios. Thank you for sharing your concerns and aspirations for both your communities and the nation as a whole. Doubly so to those of you that put your trust in me to represent you in the House of Assembly and demonstrating that trust with your vote. That by-election was a valuable learning experience that I hope demonstrated to the country that I'm no stranger to hard work and that when it comes to advocating for the people of Bermuda, I don't back down, even when faced with unfavorable odds. The values I shared on September 1st last year have not changed. I still believe in economic and social justice and that through our collective power and collaboration, we can develop our strengths and explore new opportunities for sustainable growth. I still value green spaces and protecting the natural beauty of our tiny rock in the middle of the ocean that has been blessed with. Maintaining the tenuous balance of our rich ecosystem requires our stewardship and a cultural shift in how some of us view our natural resources as boundless. They are not. I still value renewable energy and believe its expansion can be a driver for our increased energy resiliency, as well as a lever for reducing our economically stifling cost of living. Our small size may limit our economies of scale, but it also facilitates being nimble and iterating through potential solutions to arrive at the right fit for us. Our tiny island nation also benefits from the rather unique privilege of having the population of a relatively small town that's supported by budgets that rival countries many times our size. We have the potential to implement policy and legislative changes whose effects can be measured within the same legislative term. Most other jurisdictions have to wait 5, 10, or even 20 years to determine the impacts of their choices. That's not the case for us. This benefit should not be overlooked, and we must be bold in our choices, as the PLP government has been, to drive strategic change that moves the needle for everyday working Bermudians. We must leverage technology and the data it can provide to make changes that not only set us on the path to prosperity today, but also ensure that we remain on track for our future. That is why the PLP government is advancing universal healthcare to ensure that we have access to quality, affordable healthcare. That's why the PLP has increased seniors' pensions by the rate of inflation and expanded childcare benefits to support working parents. As your PLP candidate, my vision for Constituency 30's future includes advocating for the following items, amongst many others: social and economic justice for all Bermudians, cooperative and nonprofit provision of essential services and affordable housing, or subsidized housing, community building that crosses our socioeconomic stratifications, data-driven, strategic, and pragmatic decision-making, more policies to incentivize increases in our birth rate and repatriation, increased utilization of our arable land for greater food security, further reductions in red tape for our entrepreneurs, and capital projects that enhance our road safety by design for both pedestrians and motorists, increase our energy resilience, and reduce our reliance on personal motor vehicles. In closing, possessing the skills and experiences that the Premier has already shared, I think I bring a unique, valuable set of skills and experiences to the political arena, and hope that you agree that I'm the best choice for representing the people of Southampton East Central and driving progressive change in our governance. I'd like to end by thanking my wife, Gia, because without her, none of my political aspirations would be possible. I also need to thank my children, Soleil and Adi. They're at school right now. Soleil's at Purvis. the reasons I get up to work for positive change every day. And finally, to the people of Southampton East Central, constituency 30, I look forward to meeting you all and serving on your behalf. Thank you.
Happy to take questions. Who wants to go first? Gary or Fiona?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Fiona McWhirter from Royal Gazette. Just for the avoidance of doubt and for clarity, this is a candidate for a general election as opposed to Mr. Wade, MP Wade stepping down at this time. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Wade, then turning to you, what's the reason for your retirement as Premier Put?
I thought this was about Mischa, but I will answer that. For the past 7 years, everyone that knows me knows I have given back to my community, to the island in general, and it's time. It's time for me to take a step back, to reflect on some things, and I have some projects that I'm working on at the moment. So it's time for me. That's the main reason. When I came in 2020, I told the Premier that I would give one term to C30, and we will see where we go from there. And it's time for me to give back to myself.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Fubler, I'm interested to know just in terms of what you think the PLP offers, particularly to young voters. We're seeing quite a dynamic political scene at the moment, and I'm particularly interested to know, that sort of under 40s bracket, what you think the PLP is really seeing to them just now.
I think the resurgence in the progressive minds, our youth wing, kind of exemplifies our desire to re-engage with young voters. C30 especially, there's a significant proportion of the registered voters who are under 25, which is refreshing to see. And then the largest proportion, I think, is 35 to 64. And so I think that my engagement in that space will be well received, because they're seeing someone like MP Wade who kind of can closely relate, the empathy around being a young parent, having kind of early to mid-stage career requirements that I represent those and can empathize with those concerns.
Sure, thank you. And just with regards maybe to voters who might support you as an individual, they might feel that they're aligned with your values, but they might not necessarily feel that the PLP as a whole always aligns with those values. What would you say to them?
I say I'm representation of the PLP having a large tent. I'm not isolated in my kind of political and socioeconomic worldview. There are many members amongst the membership who feel similarly to myself, and I think the party putting me forward as the candidate kind of demonstrates that desire to shift the policy further to the left.
Thank you very much. And then lastly, for Party Leader and Premier, Mr. Burt, just with regards to the current makeup of the House of Assembly, 30-6 in terms of PLP versus opposition OBA, at any upcoming general election, do you think that can be retained, or is it inevitable that PLP will lose seats?
We will fight for every single seat. That is what the Progressive Labour Party has always done, and I'm not going to prejudge the voters. But what I will say is that we will carry into the general election a strong record of success. We will carry into the general election the fact that we have continued to deliver on our promises, whether or not that is expanding social protections for the most vulnerable in our community, whether or not that is expanding childcare, increasing seniors' pension, introduction of a minimum wage, making sure that we reduce the tax burden on workers inside of this country, the expansion of international business, the largest number of Canadians working in international business ever, record amounts of investment in affordable housing, and a balanced budget. This is what this Progressive Labour Party government has been able to deliver, and it is important to remember after taking the country through a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. So there is certainly work. Clearly, there's more that we need to do, as our candidate says, on matters related to addressing items with the cost of living. It is something that is clearly a challenge, but the fact is, I want you, and voters will have the opportunity to compare the plans, compare the records of a party that cut taxes for workers, their lowest level in history, to a party that raised taxes on workers to the highest level in history. That is what the choice will be, and we look forward to presenting that choice to the voters and letting the voters render their decision.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you. Gary Foster, Scotland Bermuda Broadcasting. You've given us reasons why Chesson went to step down, but when was the PLP branch in constituency 13 formed that Mr. Wade will be stepping down?
we're not going to get into those internal details. And Gary, I sincerely hope that you're not going to go down the road of internal details, because you do not ask those questions to the OBA, who do not even have candidate rollouts and just send press statements. If we can please focus on the issues at hand instead of the internal mechanisms of which we're not going to discuss this press conference.
I can show you my emails to the OBA that do the same. So, but on the other side of that, this could be a very interesting race, Mr. Fubler. Two young politicians in that constituency regarding Dwayne Robinson, the OBA, and both seen perhaps as more progressive in their thinking. However, Dwayne Robinson has been canvassing the constituency for some time. How will you appeal to voters there?
Tried and true practice of the PLP: hit the streets, knock on the doors, talk to the people. I also wanted to point out both Dwayne and I are alumni of Cedarbridge Academy as well, public school students. There you go. Yeah, that's it. We're engaged in the by-election now in C36, and so we have the experience and team that have a well-practiced kind of canvassing outreach. And I intend to continue that into C30.
Okay, so at the moment, what are the key issues in constituency 30?
So at the request of the branch, I refrained from doing canvassing until the official announcement was made. And so now that we're here today, people of Southampton East Central look forward to seeing me in your neighborhood. And so just at a macro level, I'm sure top of mind for many is the Southampton Princess Hotel being reopened. That's definitely a concern of my own. There is quite a lot of green space involved. And so I hope that's a concern for some of the residents. I've done some preliminary Q&A, not really on the doorsteps. I know there at the bottom of Southampton Princess Hill on Middle Road, there was some flooding historically that I thought would need to be addressed, but recent reporting is that's been resolved.
And you did comment on your concerns over green space.
Yeah.
That's been a major concern when it comes to Southampton, Fairmont Southampton. Can you comment on that? Are you, as a candidate in that constituency, completely happy with with what is expected to happen?
Completely happy. So first and foremost, that's a significant economic driver. I think that should take primacy in our decision. And so for that, I support the reopening. But I lodged an objection to the SDO process, primarily around the lack of language for renewable energy incorporated into the plan and expansion of the infrastructure in the area. I'm thinking of sewage and stormwater management. There's going to be quite a lot of paving over as they roll out the condominiums, and I want to ensure that the neighborhood's not negatively impacted. One thing I would also like to see in that space is during the redesign of the golf course, that they look to remove some of the kind of monoculture involved, one type of grass, one specific type of tree, to prioritize in native and endemic species being replanted so that it can kind of be a mix of recreation and park space.
And Mr. Premier, this is the third PLP candidate rollout in about 2 weeks. 2 of those rollouts were not completely necessary at this time. Many observers would see this as preparing for a general election. So can you give me any reason why the public should not believe that we're going to see a general election before the end of the year?
So I would just like to refer you to the excellent answer that was just given by our candidate for constituency number 30, who has clearly studied the issues and is able to take a nuanced approach in the exact same way that this government takes a nuanced approach to important issues. On that particular matter, my answer remained the same, that there will be a general election in Bermuda before February 2026.
Well, but I do understand that you could potentially dissolve Parliament and forego the Sands North by-election. So can you at least guarantee we are going to see that by-election in Sands North?
There will be a general election before February 2026.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Gary. If there's no further questions, Mischa, congratulations, and looking forward to seeing you on the doorsteps and in the House of Assembly.